After 7 p.m., we will commence the May 11, 2016 meeting, and the first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will bypass the approval of minutes, and we'll go right to public hearings. Small project, NACC number 171-345 Candlestick Road. Jen?
So you can see the plan up there in front of you. It's a deck rebuild in kind. They have taken down the existing deck. They did not touch the footings. And they are, according to Heidi, 60 feet from the wetland, and there are already wetland markers up there.
Deb?
No questions.
Joseph?
This is like classic small project. I'm all set.
Sean?
No question.
And Doug?
No question.
There being no questions, it would be approved.
Question? What happened to the deck?
We were going to rebuild it. Well, we do the rebuild and mold all over. We just put it down, took it down a little.
It was rotting.
It will rot, yeah. So I'm going to redo it.
Excellent. Well, we are going to let you redo it.
Sounds like we're ready for a motion.
I move that we grant NACC number 171-345 Candlestick Road as a subsection B of the application checklist for small projects. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? And that would be unanimous.
And Jen, as far as any conditions,
Heidi just recommends post-construction inspection when they're done.
okay, I move that we grant the application with post-construction inspection.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Mr. Maben abstains on both motions. Motion passes unanimously with one abstention.
Okay,
Okay.
we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I think I promised some Burger King if they were good.
They were
job.
good. They were
Make
good.
sure you get the crown.
Looks like you're on the hook. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too.
All right.
So we are good. Lou did say in his message that he read the minutes, and if you would like to approve, he is fine with them.
All right. So the
So moved.
Second.
Document traffic.
motion and second to adopt the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that would be unanimous as well for adopting the minutes.
Okay.
4/13/16 minutes. Public hearings, request for determination of applicability. Route 133 East, 1650 Great Pond Road, DPW, Bartlett Consolidated, continued from 4/27. They request to continue to 5/26.
So moved.
Motion and a second.
Doug, yeah.
Second.
All those in favor? And
Aye.
that stands continued. General business, 242-1603, a COC request for 315 South Bradford Street, Small Egg Farm. This one requests to continue to 5/26/16 as well.
So moved.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. 242-1261, an enforcement order, COC request, Catuit and Layden Streets, estate of Robert J. Burke.
So he isn't going to be here tonight, but just to show you the
Let the record show that I'm recusing myself from this.
oh, right, Catuit.
The record will reflect. Jen?
They did get that heavier stone into the forebay. Doesn't look very pretty, but it is what we asked them to do. And there's the back outlet with the bigger stone. Last time we looked at it, they had just a pea stone. But we're now waiting on the as-built plan, and we should have that by the next meeting. So request to continue.
A motion to continue?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous with one recusal.
Yep.
And that leaves us with 242-1647, a modification request, 172 Summer Street.
Okay, he'll be here in 5. He just emailed me. So we
Okay.
can move on to 0.
0 Foster Street, access approval for EPA's National Wetland Condition Assessment. I don't know what that is.
So, I guess every said number of years, the EPA goes out and assesses wetlands throughout the country. They do hydrology, water quality sampling, soil sampling, document flora, fauna, wildlife on the property, and they would like to use one of our properties, or your properties, the town's properties, at the confluence of Rocky Brook and Mosquito Brook. So kind of out at the end of Foster, where Foster meets Winter. Very wet property. There's access off of Foster and off of Winter. I don't know which way they plan to access, but it'll all be by foot and by hand, so.
Foster and Winter, so the resource area.
You can see,
I know
that's
the area.
Mosquito Brook, and you can see that's the National Grid substation that you see in the photo on Foster Street. So it's the land behind that.
So that stretch of land that runs from Foster to Winter, there's a lot of vernal pools in there. Is that the area I'm thinking of correctly?
I think, yep.
On the right-hand side, as you go down Foster towards Winter, they'd be on the right, obviously.
Yep. And then some of it is is open space associated with one of the developments. I don't know if it's Stone Cleave. And then the other is listed as 0 Foster Street. I don't know how the town acquired that piece. Maybe it was all part of the subdivision process, but they're both wet, so.
Yeah, so essentially, we're traveling on Foster towards Winter on the right-hand side after the National Grid
Correct.
power lines on the right all the way down to the corner.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that is an area that's loaded with vernal pools.
So they're just looking for permission to access.
So this is the first time they're assessing it, or just a follow-up to a
I think
previous
it's
benchmark?
the first time they've assessed this particular wetland. And, knowing that you guys like to receive reports and data and things, they said if we want a copy of the report, they'll note that and make sure we get a copy. It's due out probably around 2018.
So we want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would definitely want.
So they sent us a signature page, and the town manager's aware as well.
Okay.
How was it selected? I mean, are they just looking at maps?
If you go to the other page, it kind of addresses this document. It says how are wetlands selected. So there are 904 included in the survey, representing 7 wetland types and distributed across the lower 48 states. EPA selected the wetland sites from the network of plots in the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service's most current National Wetland Status and Trends Report. Digitized maps to capture areas where wetlands are present. Sampling sites were selected randomly using a statistical survey to represent the population of the wetlands in their ecological region.
Wow.
So, bing, we popped up.
So they basically threw a dart.
I thought it was because we did such a great job protecting them.
Yes,
They threw a
it
dart-
was.
they
It
threw a
was,
dart at the
Joe.
wall, and they had a map, and they just tossed a dart at it, and it hit there, and that's it.
And I thought it was like a measure about success.
So, yeah, I would like to think there was something we did, but
But not this time.
not this time. Not this time. So any action on our part required,
Signing of the access.
other than signing of the
document.
access? No.
No, I would just vote to allow them to access the property for survey.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second to allow. All those in favor?
Aye.
It sounds unanimous to me.
All right, and then just you.
I found you.
I know, sorry.
That's okay.
Guess you haven't seen us since we changed locations.
Well, I knew the town hall was closed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Mr. D'Angelo received an order of conditions to construct a garage on a portion of his property that is off of Mollytown. His address is on Summer Street, if you recall this. You have a letter in your packets summarizing the changes, but I guess since he's here, I can let him do that.
Okay, hi, I'm Jimmy D'Angelo. My wife and I own property at 172 Summer Street in North Andover. And as you'll see on the plan, it's kind of an unusual lot. It has frontage on Summer Street as well as frontage on Mollytown Road. And Jim Carroll was the builder of my house as well as the builder of the houses on Mollytown Road. And we always had made provisions for utility hookup off of Mollytown Road for an auxiliary building to be built on that end of the property. And I was here in the fall to get approval for, with an order of conditions on a plan that was based on a building footprint of 30 by 30, which at that time envisioned a two-story building, 900 square feet on each floor for 1,800 square feet. And I had the plans that Jimmy Carroll had provided me, but it was okay as a garage, but it showed all its activity in Phase 2 Mollytown Road. And the view and the value of the lot is looking to the backyard and looking towards the vernal pool and the wetland sits back there. So I engaged an architect to work within the town's bylaw to come up with a building that met and respected the small project limits. And we have a nice-looking building that is a 1.5-story building with garage and gathering space in the greenhouse down on the first floor, and a den and an office and storage on the upper floor, for a total of like 1,911 square feet, 1,912 square feet. But the building footprint now is different than what was approved before. So I spoke with Jennifer, and I had Christensen and Sergi prepare a request for modification to show that new footprint. And my letter is a description of the changes in the impervious area. There'll be additional impervious area of about 300 square feet on the foundation footprint, but we're skinnying down the driveway so that we're reducing that by 180 square feet. So it's about 120 square feet of additional impervious area. But in all other aspects, the building, the setbacks, meets the requirements of the setbacks and respects the both the flagging and the silk sock that I have put in place and maintained through the wintertime. So we should have in front of you a plan by Christian and Sergi that shows that revised building footprint, and I'm hoping that I can address any questions you may have, and that I can go forward with this modification to allow for me to go to start the building permit application process.
Jack?
Sure. Gee, if I had a building like this on my lot, I may never go home again.
Well,
Just kidding. There's a garage, and then a greenhouse, and then a square section between. What does that represent?
the garage is in the front of the, that's the, I think it's 30 by 26 or something like that. The back space is the entrance, so that would have doors that open up on the patio.
I guess I'll just ask it this way. You know, on the building plan, it shows in orange outlined 3 rectangles.
Yes.
Could you tell us what each of those 3 rectangles are?
The front rectangle is the garage, 2-car garage and a workshop. The middle one is a gathering space with stairway that goes upstairs to a den and storage, and the little rectangle is the greenhouse.
Okay. And the setback looks to be like 59 feet at the closest point. I have no more questions.
Thank you.
Just was wondering, with the temporary loam stockpile, how large is that?
Right now, there's nothing there now. It's all, the lot has been cleared, but it hasn't been stripped yet. So when we start construction and we strip everything, that's the stockpile area to hold everything within, before we start taking things off. So I think that was suggested by Jennifer, just to make sure that we understand where we're going to work and how we're going to store as we build this thing.
Okay, thank you.
Joe?
No questions.
Sean?
No questions.
And Doug?
I got a question, but I'm just curious. It's got probably nothing to do with conservation. How does this pass zoning?
It's less than 2,000 square feet, and it's an auxiliary building, and it conforms to the zoning bylaw. And I have an opinion from my zoning attorney that accompanies my application to the permit.
So I'm sure it's got a bathroom in it.
It has a bath and a half.
I'm sure it's got a kitchen of some sorts in it.
It doesn't have a kitchen. It has a server for an office. It has a sink, and it has under the cabinet refrigerator, but it has no stove.
Got a microwave, probably.
It will have a
Gotta pop the
microwave.
popcorn, Doug.
It will have a microwave.
I'm sure somebody could live in there. The question is, I think it's on the edge with zoning. I would think it might get challenged.
Well, I guess
But
that's
your problem.
for
It's nothing
another
to do
board
with
to determine,
conservation.
isn't it?
Exactly. It's nothing to do with the
It has nothing to do with the Conservation Commission or the jurisdiction of this board.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Are there any abutters present? And no abutters answer? I guess we're ready for a motion, unless, Jen, you have something you want to point out that we missed?
No, I mean, with the difference between modifications and amendments kind of teeter, but, you know, I think if the amount of impervious area were greater, if they were closer to the wetlands, I probably would have sent it for an amendment, but I didn't think this rose to that occasion. So.
I would agree with you, and I'm happy to see him coming in, requesting the modification before the work is done.
Right.
So,
He's very good that way.
Very good.
happy to see you here on this end of the work. So we're ready for a motion, if anybody feels moved.
I move that we grant the modification request for 242-1647 as proposed.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just as a sidebar, in my old hometown, we had a lot of Italian neighbors, you know, of Italian descent, and they all had two kitchens.
Yeah. My mother had two kitchens in her house,
Yeah.
two upper and lower.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was in the same building.
Yes,
Right?
right.
This won't have it. This will not have a kitchen and will not be considered a dwelling unit. And
Plus, you'd
that's-
have to drive dinner around.
I just have to leave my house in the morning and go so that I don't have to listen to the dog and other things going on.
So is that your man cave?
That's my man cave. It's going to be called La Campagna. the countryside.
So tell me, are you going to walk to it, or are you going to drive?
Well, I can't because
There's a vernal
there's a
pool in
vernal pool in
between.
the way. I have to get, I'm trying to get an agreement with my neighbor so that I take care of some stuff for him and I'll walk down his driveway. But I can also drive around.
There's always a deal to be made somewhere.
There's always a deal.
You'll find a way.
Zip line.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Think about a zip line.
All right, Jen, is there any other business that I missed?
No, that's it.
Any discussion, anything at all?
No,
Right.
I'm going to have you look at a plan after just about a filing, but it's not before us.
It's time to entertain a motion.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And it's unanimous. We're adjourned.